Hello, everybody. I'm Krasi, and this is my forecast for March 2019, starting from 1st of March, following the path of the moon. Especially important will be the day of the first lunar crescent after the moon was invisible, and with this we are marking the first day of the lunar month. But here we have something very significant happening in March in particular. On the 8th of March, we are having the beginning of the astronomical new year. Why is this? This is the first lunar crescent which is happening before the sun enters the point of the spring equinox. And this day is 8th of March. So on the 5th, 6th, and the 7th March, the moon will be invisible, hidden in the rays of the sun. And this first appearance of the moon in Pisces on the 8th of March is the most important day of the year. This is the day when the ancients in ancient Babylon would celebrate the Akitu festivals. I have 2-3 videos on this topic as it is very important because for our era, Pisces remains the most important sign. And if we follow the pattern of the ancient time, it is so that this day indeed is the way the planets are configured on the sky on this particular moment of the appearance of the first lunar crescent. This is determining how the whole year will look like. So this is the Akitu festival, 8th of March. On this particular day, the ancients would look at the moon in the evening after the sun sets, and they would predict how the year would look like. You may do the same. This will be a very interesting experience, I'm sure. On this day, you may do your wishes. 8th of March. This is for the northern hemisphere. For the southern hemisphere, this will be the autumn equinox. Again, very important day. So also, all the herbs that you're going to gather around this day, 10 days before, 10 days after, will have special healing powers, and they will have very powerful energies. So this day is also wonderful for gathering herbs. 8th of March, it's the beginning of the month Nisanu. This is the first month of the year. So, of course, my prognosis will be about the good and the bad days in March. And yes, I will start from 1st of March. This is just to give you an overview of an important date that you can really make use of with your prayers or with just benefiting from the powerful energies of the day. Doing your own, if you like, rituals for supporting your intuition or your vibrational level or level of consciousness. So benefit from this day. It's only once a year. You may also give a vow on this day or a promise, and this will be given a specific importance. So let's start with the 1st of March, which is like the final week of the previous year, astronomical celestial year. And I will tell you the good and the bad days for different life activities. You may also like to see my weekly prognosis where I am talking about the week for the 12 ascendants. Also very briefly, of course, because such overview is to make use of the good and the bad days of the week for different activities, but it's certainly the details are hidden in your personal natal charts. So on the 1st of March, the moon will be conjoined Saturn. And this is happening in Sagittarius. And this day is not appropriate for many activities except for spiritual and philosophical studies, uplifting your level of consciousness. The day is not appropriate for new beginnings. It is not appropriate for travel. Be cautious. It is not appropriate for surgical interventions, except if they are not invasive, of course. Now, on this day, now I will talk this maybe also in April in my prognosis about gardening, just to give you the good days for gardening. For example, on this particular day, you may plant rooty vegetables like potatoes, for example, but not the ones that grow above the ground. So you may plant or replant, not seeds, also not appropriate. On these days, certainly do your routine work with precision, with discipline, because the moon is with Saturn. The 2nd of March can be appropriate for surgical medical interventions. Again, if they're invasive and very specific, you may need really personal approach towards your horoscope. This is very important. For this, if you desire, you may contact me, but generally the day is fine for surgical and medical interventions if they're really not invasive. The day is fine for traveling, again, planting only rooty vegetables. The day is not good for new beginnings. On this particular day, you may do beauty procedures because the moon is conjunct Venus, so you may do this. On the 3rd of March, the situation is quite similar, even better in terms of beauty, because then the moon is also in a Venus term. You may travel, you may plant rooty vegetables, you may do your routine business with precision, and in medical interventions, yes, if they are not invasive. Then we're having the last lunar crescent. It means that on this day, we are going to see the moon for a very last time. On this day, the moon has also no course. It would say that the day is good for your routine work, finalizing things, no new beginnings. Even planting may not give very good results because the moon has no course. So it would say that we can do our routine work without taking any risks. Travel, we may. Medical interventions, rather not. You're not in risk, but rather not. And then we are having 5th, 6th, 7th of March, the 3 days of lunar invisibility. And when this is happening, these 3 days, the ancients would stay in the temple, they would pray, they would contemplate, they would do not much, because these days are considered critical. It would say that the lunar god is entering the netherworld to control the destinies of the dead. So the moon is very esoteric, very occultistic, very hidden, very secretive, would help you if you want to do spiritual work, meditation, enhancing your intuition. But such moon is not productive in terms of your business, in terms of your daily duties, not good for medical interventions, beauty procedures, no. On these particular 3 days with your garden, you may clean the weeds from the garden, remove them. So this is what you can do in terms of gardening, but new planting is not advisable. So these are the 3 days of lunar invisibility. Medical procedures, absolutely not. Risk-taking, absolutely not. And then we are having on the 8th, this wonderful day where I told you that you may benefit from the 1st of Nisan, at the first day of the year. Benefit the way your intuition leads you, but it can be very good if you would do your own ritual, or if you make a wish or promise to the universe, anything. This day is fine for new beginnings. Depends, of course, on the activity, on the personal horoscope, but in general, it is okay. Medical interventions, no. On this day, you may plant seeds and leafy vegetables, and you may replant flowers as well. And then on the 9th of March, quite similar is the situation. On the 10th, the moon will be conjoined Uranus and Mars, and you may have desire to do new initiatives. You may do, because the day is very, very powerful. But still, I would say stay away from risky situations, risky travel. So this is about 10th also of March. On this day, you will have indeed the desire to do new ideas. You will be, Saturn is also supporting Mars in very practical terms, like you have these practical desires for new projects, new plans, you have maybe ambition to do this. Depends, of course, on your personal chart. But do it, but cautiously, without getting into any risky situations, any conflicts. This particular day, you may be also very emotional in terms of your private life, due to the important aspect also of Venus and Mars. And then we are having the 11th of March, when the moon is leaving Aries. Very similar. The situation is similar, but in this case now the moon is also leaving the conjunction. So and it's approaching the last degree, so this day is not very appropriate for new beginnings. Also not good for medical, any sorts of medical work, like surgeries or medical interventions. You may do, but it depends which organ will be touched, of course. And also when traveling, be cautious. Don't take any risks. Emotionally, you may feel a bit too emotional. It may be a little bit unstable, but this will be temporary. Be patient with your beloved ones. On the 12th of March, the moon is entering very important degrees in Taurus, which are in the Seven Sisters, the Pleiades, very esoteric, very occultistic. This is a day of taking no risks. I would even say don't take any risky travels, don't get into conflicts. The land will be fruitful for planting, replanting, planting your seeds, flowers. This will be a very wonderful day for such activities. New initiatives you can do the next day on the 13th. And the day on the 13th will be quite fine also for financial activities, beauty procedures. On the 14th of March, the moon is in Gemini, quite good for any teaching, studying, not good for surgical interventions, good to plant leafy vegetables, seeds, replanting, flowers. This particular day is very good also for spiritual work and sharing your knowledge. You may travel on this day. You may not do surgical interventions on this particular day. And also be cautious in every activity you do, because still there is this aspect of Saturn. The same, but with a little bit more attention, is valid for the 15th of March. Be cautious, no medical interventions, careful when traveling, careful when you will be interacting with your superiors or colleagues. Also be patient with your beloved ones on this particular day. For planting, similar like the previous day, you might plant seeds, leafy vegetables. And then the moon on the 16th is in a very spiritual place, very empathic, very esoteric. So this is how you can benefit. Very good for philosophical, psychological work. Very good for intuitive work, for those who want to enhance their clairvoyance or any talents related to spirituality, studies, sharing knowledge, teaching. On this day, you may travel. It's not appropriate to do surgical interventions. You may do new beginnings, but this is not the most appropriate options for new initiatives like new company or new business. But still, some new beginnings you may do, mostly if they're in the area of spirituality or spiritual business or spiritual activities or philosophy, psychology. So this is okay. Planting, very good, very fruitful. This and the next day, 16th and 17th of March, will be wonderful for planting seeds, replanting your roses, for example, flowers, vegetables. Oh, this is fine. All leafy vegetables, fruits, trees also. So this is also surgical interventions. You may, if they are not invasive. On the 18th of March, the moon has no course. When this is happening, the moon is not dangerous, but is also not very helpful, not supporting our daily activities. It is fine for spiritual work, for your daily work, but be cautious. Be cautious also when you travel. Medical interventions, absolutely no. Gardening, yes, the similar pattern like the previous day. And then on the, I think did I say, yes, on the 19th of March, the moon is entering wonderful degrees of Leo, very spiritual, very much about courage, very much about esoteric studies, sciences. This is what you may do. You will be rewarded, studying, sharing your knowledge. Careful with traveling. You may do new initiatives. You may also, for in terms of planting, same pattern, flowers, trees, seeds, you still may do. And all those annual plants which are above the ground, the leafy ones, will be very good. On this particular day, yes, you may travel. I think I said this. New initiatives possible, but always it's important in which direction. So 20th of March, the moon has no course. And as we said, such moon is not very supportive. So do your routine business without taking any risks. Not in particular, of course, will happen, but still take no risks. Just use discipline, time orientation, because still there is an existing aspect of Saturn. On the 21st of March, the day is wonderful. What I missed to say, my apologies, is on the previous day, the day 20th of March, the day is quite important because the moon is approaching full moon, and this full moon is happening 20th of March. It is happening in a very important position, and this is the position where the equinoxes are. And when we had on the 8th of March already the vernal, the spring equinox, and on the 20th we're having the full moon happening in the spring equinox and the autumn equinox. This is particularly important full moon, and you can benefit for herbalism, like collecting the herbs. They will be powerful. They will have powerful healing energies on this day. You may benefit for your consciousness, your uplifting of vibrational level, doing a lot of spiritual work, a lot of studies, sharing your knowledge. This will be for sure rewarded. This is a powerful day of the month. Very similar will be also the 21st of March, I will tell you, because there was still the opposition between the sun and the moon. And even though this is a phase called cosmic setting, you can still benefit from the powerful energies of this day, especially when praying, connecting with your higher self, and herbalism. You may travel. New beginnings I wouldn't advise on this particular day. On the 21st, you may already do medical procedures if they're not invasive. The day will be good for the routine work. On the 22nd of March, the moon has no course, and as such, the moon is not supporting us so much, but this will be good for your routine work, for the everyday work, for any work which is related to eloquence, sharing knowledge, this also trade, also communication, and this is because the moon is conjunct very important star Spica. It's a beautiful star near the ecliptic with very high magnitude. You can see my video on Spica, but still the moon has no course. So important initiatives or activities I wouldn't suggest, except studying, negotiations also not, but writing, putting your knowledge on paper, sharing it with others. So for this it will be fine. The day will be very good. On the 23rd, you may do beauty work. uh, beautifying procedures. Medical, you may. For planting rooty vegetables. Seeds, it's not appropriate anymore. You may do your routine work. The day is quite fine also from financial point of view. Travel, this is all right. New initiatives, as I said, no. 24th, similar situation. And then on the 25th of March, the moon is entering powerful degrees in Scorpio of a royal star. So this is the day where you may have this impetus of an ambition of having new initiatives, creating something new, or leadership desires. All this is fine. Just don't get into risky situations. Mars is making opposition, which can create some indeed risks and even conflicts. So I would say be careful while traveling. No medical interventions, no surgical interventions as well. For planting, as I said, rooty vegetables. So on the 26th of March, I would say that the situation is very similar, but a bit better because then the moon is conjoining Jupiter. So this is quite nice for philosophical studies, sharing knowledge, religious studies for those who are interested. So this is a nice day for this. You may do medical interventions if they're not invasive. You may travel cautiously. Then we are having the 27th of March. On this day, I would say that we should stay away from risks. We can do a lot of spiritual work, awareness, consciousness, uplifting, any work which will be about philosophical teachings, studies, work of work which is about really this philosophical knowledge which is involving true teachings and knowledge and studies. Avoid traveling, no medical interventions on this day. Or if you travel, do it without taking risks, cautiously. Then we are having the 28th of March, the same situation, 28th of March. Don't take any risks. On this particular day, no medical interventions are advisable. And then we are having on the 29th of March, the day where we can do medical interventions. We may, new beginnings are not appropriate. You may plant rooty vegetables or those that grow under the ground. You may the day is very appropriate for spiritual work and for those who have clairvoyant talents. This will be enhanced by a very important star in Capricorn. Negotiations not appropriate. In general, in March, you didn't hear me talking about negotiations, but this is because, especially in March, Mercury disappeared and became retrograde, disappeared from it's not visible on the sky, is hidden in the rays of the sun. So as such, Mercury is not so much supporting negotiations and work which involves communication, eloquence, trade also will be a bit harmed by this particular phase of Mercury. And then on the 30th, the same, but on this day you may do medical interventions, philosophical studies. Oh, this will be wonderful. You may travel, new beginnings, no. 31st of March, the moon is already leaving the sign. So on this day, and the moon is also about to soon will become invisible. So on this day, complete all things that you started. Do your routine work with discipline, with time orientation. You may do surgical interventions if they are not really invasive. Depends, of course, on the personal horoscopes, but in general, the day is okay for this. You may travel and you may do your routine work. The day will be good for this. And with this, we're finishing the month. this is just a very basic overview so that you can benefit from the days of the month, so that you know which day is appropriate for the different daily activities. If you want to know in detail how this looks on your personal chart, or if you need important day for important events like starting your business or any important event that can be seen in the chart for this, then you may like to contact me personally. But this is a very general overview that you may benefit from. Thank you.